Breaking news: Trump moves to abolish the Federal Reserve, a new financial era for the United States. Although it may be hard to believe it's happening, in a shocking and controversial move, Donald Trump has decisively ordered the abolition of the Federal Reserve, blaming it for the devastating inflation crushing Americans' wallets. By shutting down the Fed, Republicans aim to reinstate a gold-backed currency in the United States. But will this drastic decision truly lift the country out of its economic abyss? The financial landscape of the United States and the world is on the verge of a historic shift. With the Federal Reserve facing scrutiny like never before, economic power players are making strategic moves. Will this unprecedented maneuver stabilize the economy, or is the country heading towards financial chaos? Stay with us as we break down what's happening, what it means, and how it could change your financial future. Trump, in a bold and unexpected turn, has officially pushed for the abolition of the Federal Reserve, blaming it for the skyrocketing inflation that has severely impacted American families. We need to protect our economic future, end the federal debt monetization that fuels uncontrolled government spending, and strengthen the United States dollar. We must abolish the Federal Reserve, declared Republican Senator Mike Lee. Lee, along with Republican Representative Thomas Massie, is set to reintroduce legislation in both chambers of Congress to dismantle the Federal Reserve Board. Lee argued that during the pandemic, the Fed created trillions of dollars out of thin air to lend to the Treasury Department, financing an unprecedented deficit. By monetizing debt, he claimed, the Fed devalued the dollar and implemented lax monetary policies that led to today's rampant inflation. According to Lee, the Federal Reserve has failed in its duties and has instead become a manipulative force contributing to economic instability. Consequently, Republicans are calling for the dissolution of the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors and the network of Federal Reserve banks, which they hold responsible for the dollar's decline, inflation, and the spiraling national debt, now surpassing $36 trillion. This proposal, first introduced last year, seeks to repeal the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which established the current system. If passed, the Secretary of the Treasury would oversee the retirement and benefits of former Federal Reserve officials and employees as outlined in the legislation. Tech mogul Elon Musk, known for his government efficiency initiatives, has expressed interest in dismantling the Fed, or at least replacing its leadership with fiscally conservative figures committed to audits and reforms. Musk has also backed the idea of appointing former Congressman Ron Paul, a longtime critic of the Fed, as its new leader. If Republicans succeed in shutting down the Federal Reserve, the United States could return to a gold-backed currency, reversing a policy that has been in place since 1971. That year, President Richard Nixon ended the gold standard, severing the dollar's convertibility into gold. Until then, every dollar bill had a tangible gold equivalent, ensuring that money represented real value backed by industry and labor. Given today's economic crisis, which threatens to devalue the US dollar further, some argue that restoring gold backing is a critical step toward financial stability. The Federal Reserve's disappearance could bolster alternative monetary assets like gold and cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, as investors seek stable value stores in a world without inflationary currency. In February, Trump ordered an audit of the gold reserves at Fort Knox, reflecting a growing global trend of seeking refuge in gold. Last year alone, gold prices broke records 40 times, with 1 troy ounce currently priced at $1,908. Ironically, the U.S. is now considering a strategy long employed by its economic adversaries, China and Russia, to shield their economies from Western sanctions. In the first half of last year, global central banks collectively purchased 483.6 metric tons of gold. In 2023, they acquired another 137 metric tons, with Beijing leading the buying spree. Today, China holds 2,274 metric tons of gold, with India trailing close behind, significantly increasing its stockpile. As more nations seek economic security, physical gold is regaining prominence, particularly as its value has surged 27% over the past year, making it one of the most profitable commodities. Meanwhile, Washington remains uncertain about how to escape its financial downward spiral. Options have ranged from unlocking Fort Knox's vaults to tapping into Ukraine's rare earth minerals, establishing cryptocurrency reserves, and now abolishing the Federal Reserve altogether. Given this radical proposal, crucial questions arise. What exactly is the Federal Reserve? Is its abolition feasible? And most importantly, what would happen to the U.S. economy if it were dismantled? First, it's essential to understand that the Federal Reserve is responsible for directing U.S. monetary policy, overseeing banking institutions, and maintaining financial system stability. It also regulates money supply through open market operations, determining lending and purchasing terms for financial instruments. According to experts, eliminating the Federal Reserve would drastically reshape the U.S. and global financial systems, creating market uncertainty. The Fed acts as the lender of last resort, meaning banks would need far greater financial discipline and could no longer rely on bailouts during crises. Additionally, monetary supply control would shift entirely to the free market, eliminating excessive dollar printing. While such a move could reduce inflation in the long run, it could also trigger severe economic shocks in the short term. Without the Federal Reserve, the U.S. government could no longer issue debt backed by the central bank, forcing drastic spending cuts or alternative financing solutions. The dollar would lose its artificial support, potentially destabilizing global markets. The future of the United States financial system hangs in the balance. The proposed abolition of the Federal Reserve has sparked heated debate over the future of the U.S. economy. Supporters argue that dismantling the Fed would curb inflation, restore financial discipline, and strengthen the U.S. dollar through a gold-backed system. Opponents, however, warn that such a drastic change could lead to economic turmoil, market uncertainty, and a weakened global standing for the U.S. dollar. If implemented, this decision would mark a financial revolution, one with unprecedented consequences for businesses, investors, and everyday Americans. With gold prices soaring and cryptocurrencies gaining traction, the monetary landscape is shifting rapidly. The world is watching closely as Trump and his allies push for a radical reformation of the nation's financial system. Will the end of the Federal Reserve usher in a new era of economic prosperity, or will it trigger unforeseen financial crises? The coming months will be crucial in determining the fate of the U.S. economy. What do you think about Trump's decision to abolish the Federal Reserve? Could this be the key to restoring financial stability, or is the U.S. economy heading towards uncharted chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis on breaking financial news. Stay tuned for our next video, where we uncover the hidden forces shaping global economies.